Well, Ron, Trevor Linden played for both the Capitals and the Canadiens, but of course he's best known as a Vancouver Canuck. They will retire his number on Wednesday night, and some people from outside that province don't really understand why he's so beloved there. Here is the reason. To understand this ovation, to understand this emotion, you must learn what Trevor Linden means to British Columbia.
There was a point where I've heard the story where you had a conversation with your older brother Dean, what kind of shaped your philosophy about how you had a gift and could help take care of people. What was that?
Yeah, it was interesting because it was probably a couple years into my career maybe, you know, and we were talking one day, and I don't know how we came onto the subject, but he was, and we were talking, he said, you know, Trev, you really have a gift, he said, because you can make a difference, you know, and he said, you know, I can't do that, and a lot of people can't do that because, you know, they just don't have that gift, and you know, it really kind of struck me that, you know, that we are, as hockey players, given a gift.
This organization wasn't doing a lot of the things that we believe were right, so we wanted to make sure we had a presence in the community, but we didn't have to push Trevor. He took it on right away.
14-year-old Michael Robinson died of leukemia in 1997. His family will never forget how Linden took an interest in their son.
Trevor just kind of laissez-faire into the hospital room and said, "Hey, I'm Trevor Linden." Michael says, "I know who you are."
I honestly believe that the reason Michael lasted in this world as long as he did, because he had Trevor by his side. He was his friend.
Great couple. How's everything? Good. Who's your favorite hockey player? Trevor.
Nice to see you.
As it turned out, it was 4 days before Michael ended up dying, and he had told Michael about 6 months before the Teleskins game that he needed a caddy. So he said to Mike, you know, I'm really counting on you to be a caddy.
People who know Linden marvel at his strength. How tough must it be to try and encourage people who he knew would never get better?
As much as I gave in certain situations, which I never thought was never a burden, you know, I received every bit as much, if not more, just in what I learned and the courage I saw.
You can bet that down under there, but that's that unflappability. That's who he was. He has an inner strength that allows him to handle what was going on. Did he hurt? You bet. I'll bet you he hurt as much as anybody could possibly imagine. But you march forward, and you know that you're doing something that's important. And so in spite of the hurt, he'd want to continue doing that.
Talking to the kids was probably the easiest part because they had such life and such courage, and they were always interested in what you were doing, and you know, they had a story to tell about something. But I always spent some time with the parents because I knew that was probably that they were the ones that were, you know, probably hurting the most because they were, you know, this was their life.
The kids at Canuck Place, the kids at Children's Hospital, when they see him, it's like a new day. It is that they are cancer-free, and everything is just different when Trevor Linden is around.
He's not going anywhere. Linden doesn't keep many souvenirs, one of them the silver stick for playing 1,000 games. But one thing he does own is the devotion of this province. They love the guy, and the feeling is mutual.
When you look out and you see Vancouver, what do you think?
I just think about how fortunate I am to be able to spend have spent as many seasons as I did here, and being drafted here, and being able to make this my home, and very special. So I feel very fortunate and very blessed, and living on the West Coast is tough to beat.
Ron, I had a chance yesterday to talk to Cindy Medore, who was Michael Robinson's mother. She said that on that drive up to Whistler for that 1997 Skins game, they just weren't sure that Michael was going to have the strength to make it. But they really felt as a family that he kept staying and going that long because of how much he wanted to be Linden's caddy on that day. And they are still blown away that 11 years later, he remains so much in Linden's mind, eternally thankful for what he did for them when Michael was alive. Ron?
It's a beautiful story. Mark Crawford had the pleasure of working with Trevor, and he's with Scott Oak to tee up Vancouver Canucks in the Edmonton Oilers game 2 of our doubleheader tonight. Scott.
All right, Ron, yes, we can't let the opportunity pass without a comment from Mark on Trevor Linden. You coached him for 4 years. What one characteristic defined Trevor Linden more than any other for you?
It's a great question. I said earlier it was professionalism, but watching that story, he got it. Some players play their whole career and they really don't connect with the community that they work in. Trevor did from day one, and he just got people, and I was proud to coach him. He was a great example for our young players. He trained real well, and he just carried himself so well, and I think that's why the people of Vancouver and the people of British Columbia love him so much as a Canuck.